If you could create a challenge for a future episode, what would it be? Hey guys, Andrew from CheepJokes here. We're here with Trent and Josh, Adelaide contestants from LEGO Masters Series 2. We're up to episode 2, guys. How's it feeling so far?
It's pretty amazing. Episode 2 just absolutely blew us away with what we were doing in terms of the challenge.
Literally blew us away.
Literally, and it was blowing Lego all up. But I think this was really our dream to some extent, to be playing with Lego in a way that we can't do it at home.
Yeah.
So this was fantastic for us.
And to see things blow up, that was the most exciting day for me.
Yeah, the super slow-mo camera is just incredible. Like, catches every moment of the explosion that you just can't see with the naked eye.
Was there any moments captured that were kind of unbelievable?
Oh,
100%. Summer on Ionas was probably our favourite.
Yeah.
They had a shark tank that exploded.
Right.
And like you think that everything's done and dusted as the dust settles, literally. But then a shark just came central down the camera, landed on the bad guy's head and like
Took him out.
Took him out.
No.
It was unbelievable. When
One
you
in a
watch it
million.
back,
One
you
in a
think it
million.
was like staged that way, but honestly, one in probably a trillion shot that could happen. It was very incredible.
So amazing.
We had ourselves as minifigs in the
Fantastic.
spaceship that was shooting off as the alien was exploding. And Trent, because he's an accountant, had a calculator in his minifig hand. And as the spaceship shot off, the calculator fell out of the spaceship and landed in front of our hero, and she almost
caught it in her hand.
It bounced, hit her hand, and then fell off, and we were so
And I was
close
fully
to
enclosed in this spaceship as it launched out.
I don't even know
the
how.
geometry of those angles.
So you guys are from Adelaide. You're one of 2.5 teams from Adelaide. You've got a huge representation this year in LEGO Masters.
Yeah, we are definitely keeping an alliance with the Adelaide teams. We want to keep as many as we can in. There weren't any Adelaide teams last season, but this time we've got 5 people, so we want to keep as many Adelaide people in. And maybe if an Adelaide team wins, we could change it to LEGO Masters as opposed to...
Yeah, I've checked that one with BrickPit, and he's not too keen on that idea, but I know Josh is going to be an advocate for it, so
LEGO Masters
we'll see what
2021.
happens.
So on the floor, where are you at with LEGO versus LEGO?
I think Trent's a bit of a purist. He likes to say Lego because he's a toy collector.
Lego all the way for
Even
me.
though he's from Adelaide, but I'm from Adelaide, and it's always been Lego my whole life. And so I'm a big Lego fan. I'll often say Lego, although because everyone else is saying Lego, I get caught up saying Lego sometimes.
Yeah.
But I'm definitely a Lego advocate.
It is fascinating to think that the whole of South Australia pronounces it differently to the rest of the world. We're in a
us.
bubble of some kind. But
Yeah.
There's even a store in South Australia called Lego, spelled L-A-Y-G.
I know them.
Yeah.
I know them well. Okay, so let's talk about this challenge. So we've got the green alien, we've got the hero shot. You pulled out the slime.
Yes.
What's going through your head?
Slime was the element that was going to be contained in our explosion, which was one thing. But we also got this character that was a sort of really modern space, sort of grunge looking. So we wanted to incorporate that, I guess, into our build. So we chose to go with a really industrial sort of space theme. We put in a big crane. We wanted to make it look sort of dark, dingy, almost that alien-esque sort of look, that vibe from there.
I was really excited to pull Slime out. That was probably the most interesting one. I was really excited we got it. And slime and space kind of spoke straight to an alien, like we needed a big alien creature. So with the dark colors of our industrial looking building, we went for a really bright green alien so that it was really big and bold and really stood out. Lots of tentacles, and hopefully when it explodes, it'll just look loopy and everything awesome.
Did you have any concerns with the slime? Like, you know, the texture is kind of like thick, but thinking how it will explode?
Yeah, we really didn't know a lot about how it would explode and what sort of force would be exerted on the Lego itself. Certainly with the explosion, you're just in the hands of the elements of what it's going to look like. But we tried to make the alien head, I guess, that it could blow up, and we left holes in it so that that slime would really come out. This was a fascinating build because normally when you build Lego, you're building in 3 dimensions, whereas this was a very specific camera angle that it was going to be shot from. So we almost built ours like a Hollywood set to some extent. We didn't necessarily put a lot of sides on it. We didn't put a top on the alien head because
We wanted that slime to be bursting
we
out
wanted
of
to
its
make
head.
sure it was going to come out. So we did a few things like that to try and control what we could with the explosion, but at the end of the day, we had no idea how powerful this
very
blast was going to be.
unpredictable, and you had to build it not how you would normally want to build something really strong and sturdy. It had to be so fragile and weak that it would fall apart when it blew up. So we had to half stud things on. We had to put plates down instead of studs some places, just to make sure that it really fell apart well when it blew up.
You know, I imagine when you build kits as a kid and sometimes they have an exploding wall in them or something, and it's all that plated sort of Lego bricks so that you can then just push on something and a whole wall will come out.
Yeah.
We were using a lot of those techniques to build a lot of the structures.
And a lot of loose
to make
objects
sure
to
it
make
exploded.
Sure things went everywhere and it looked impressive.
If you didn't get slime, what would you have been hoping for?
I like the idea of the chalk because
Yeah.
it gave a very movie-esque explosion that sort of looked really cool.
Yeah.
Glitter was a really tough one. Like, I think I was sort of secretly hoping, please don't get the glitter. And water, I think, ended up being really, really cool. So, yeah, I think it was...
The shark, it sounded amazing.
Yeah.
It was cool.
The Shark Tank, I think, when viewers watch that episode, or have seen that episode, they're not gonna be able to believe that moment happened. Like, it was just an absolute 1 in a million.
Obviously, you knew you had to build kind of weak, you had to build for the camera. What other concepts were going through your minds when you're looking to build?
We wanted to really stick with good colours, so we had to make sure our colour composition was really, really good and that the story was really obvious. So we had the dark colours in the industrial feel, but then a really bright,
we wanted
contrasting
to
is what I
pop.
mean.
Yeah.
Contrasting colour of the alien, so really bright and green and lots of tentacles and stuff grabbing onto things.
Yeah.
And also Roxette, our character, she's like the super cool space chick who wanted to blow up the alien and kill it so that everyone could survive on this planet. So she's lit a big fire trail leading up to the building where it's just at that moment before it's about to explode. We needed to make that all viewable from the front camera angle, so there's a lot of challenges that came with that.
We were challenged, I guess, at the end because we did want to incorporate us into the build. It was sort of a little thing that we got going from the whole New World challenge.
Is it something that's going to stick throughout the series?
We hope
so.
where it makes sense, I guess, we really want to put us in there. Just that
As
little
many
sort
things,
of Where's Wally sort of thing.
Yeah.
But Brickman really challenged us. Once we'd put us in an escape ship, he really challenged us, well, can you make that ship take off? And so that was a big part of our build towards the end. How can we try and rearrange things so that, one, the spaceship's visually in the right spot, but two, we can build an explosive underneath it to actually launch it into orbit.
Yeah, cool. Did it work?
I reckon it did.
Yeah, it did. It
I reckon
out of frame, which is good, and then we didn't see it come back, which is exactly what we needed.
I think if you watch closely, as it starts to disappear out of frame, you'll see it start to fall apart. But I think safe voyage for us.
We got away with it.
Any logistical concerns with building so weak?
Yeah, when you're building that weak and you're studying things down, you have to be really careful that if you push too hard on one thing, you can make other parts collapse, and that happened a few times where you're very gently putting things on, and if you push too hard, it'll collapse in, especially with that alien head because it was more of a round shape. As I started to work towards the top, if I started to push too much, it would just crush it in, so I had to be really, really careful. Plus, I had to make space to fit all the explosive inside there and still make it look like an alien and make it look like it was really angry because we really wanted that facial expression, which was important. So for me, that was probably the biggest challenge.
There were a lot of conversations like, just be careful of this, it's really delicate.
Oh, there was. I built quite a large crane.
Yeah.
And the crane had a crane arm, which obviously needed to be counterweight so that it wouldn't just topple over. But then the crane was, I wanted it to come down. So it was very, very flimsy.
It was
barely
tall,
started on.
So it fell a couple of times. We had to rebuild it.
Yeah.
So we were very careful not to touch it too much.
And it was funny because I really wanted it to come down and I wasn't sure how powerful this explosion was. And because the crane was at the back, I'd actually tethered a few string elements to some panels that I knew would be forced forward. And I actually made a bet with everyone on set that the crane was coming down, and if it didn't, I'd buy them all whatever Lego set they wanted. So I was actually, I was hoping this crane was gonna come down, because if it didn't, it was going to cost me a lot of money.
What other contestants really stood out to you in this challenge?
Every contestant produced something that looked wonderful exploding, and I have to say one of the really fun elements of this build was Jackson and Alex with their cowboy.
Right, yep.
They had essentially the cowboy and his girlfriend that had just robbed the bank and were getting away, and they wanted the bank to explode.
Yeah.
But the trick was they wanted the hat on the cowboy to fly off. So they went to all these elaborate measures to make that happen.
They had a piece of string tied underneath the guy, on the stud of the guy's head, but it was loose, so the hat was sitting on loosely. So hopefully, and it was tied to a vault that was safe. As it fell off, it was just going to pull the hat off with it.
Yep.
It was very, very
But
funny.
in the end, the hat came off, but the string didn't.
Really?
So it was just one of those things that probably if they just loosely put it on there, they would have been fine.
When the explosion went off, it kind of shook the whole base plate, and the hat just fell off, and then the string pulled off, but as it pulled off, it just caught the guy's stud on his head and just stayed on, and you could see it. So unfortunately, the Hollywood action that was supposed to be hidden, you could see the tricks of the trade.
tricks of the trade.
Tricks were revealed.
Especially in ultra slow-mo.
It was. But unfortunately, like, for them, like, the build by itself was actually incredible. They had an awesome bank vault and exploded, and because they had chalk, it really set that western dusty scene. It was honestly very impressive.
And Damien and Andrew, that was hilarious because they pulled out the glitter. And these are two guys that would have never built a fairy tale castle in their life. So they set about building the pinkest and whitest and most glittery fairy tale castle, which was absolutely beautiful.
It's hilarious.
But one of the tricks of their build was, because their hero, I guess, for want of a better term, was actually the Dark Knight. And she was destroying this nice, pristine fairy tale castle. And they built the castle, but they put the queen of the castle on a separate pillar that was structurally not attached to any of the castle they wanted to blow up to see if she would survive or not. So that was really the test.
And
she didn't. She got blown to smithereens.
The whole thing went down. I think the explosions were a lot bigger than we all expected, and most of everything exploded on everyone.
So how far back are you standing from the explosions?
We were a fair way back. I reckon
like 5 to 10 meters.
Oh yeah, I reckon
bigger than that?
I reckon bigger
And
than
what's
that.
the feeling? You're all lined up.
Oh, it is extremely exciting. I cannot wait to blow it up. I was so pumped.
But it's loud. So when
it?
that explosion goes off, it's super loud. And I think I might have even screamed at one point and jumped out of my skin. So yeah, I don't know. I'll have to watch the footage back of my reaction. But it was loud and it was powerful. But it was all over.
so good.
It was all over in a second. With the naked eye, you literally can't see what's happened. And it's not until you watch it back in the super slow-mo.
And when you do, it is incredible to watch.
So we're only 2 episodes in. Fingers crossed you're going to make it further than the next elimination round, or the first elimination round. If you could create a challenge for a future episode, what would it be?
Oh, I'd love to see some real technic elements. So maybe a challenge where you're asked to build something with 3 moving parts and see how you can incorporate power functions, moving parts.
I really am keen on and involved in, so I'm hoping that power functions come up.
That'd be cool.
Just something with that moves to be really, really creative to tell your story a bit better.
First elimination round is next episode. That aside, who do you see heading towards the end of the game?
Yeah, it's pretty...
Finals, I'd say Damien and Andrew, they've put up some really good builds so far, and Jay and Starny, probably the top 2, and even Jackson and Alex, to be honest. All 3 have been consistently good for the first 2 builds.
Anyone can win this. Anyone can build the best model on any day, I think, from what we've seen. So I think you almost can't predict who's going to produce what the challenge is going to be and who does what. But I think Damien and Andrew certainly really impressed with their first build.
Yeah.
The speed of their build and the quality of detail in their model was just incredible.
Outstanding.
I think for me it would have taken me twice as long to do something of that quality.
Trent and Josh, thank you so much for talking to us, and good luck with the rest of the series.
Thanks very much.
Thank you. Cheers.